Hello, everybody. This is Angel Arts, and welcome to session number 17. Again, this is a wonderfully special session because we have some guest characters, as you can see. And hopefully, we can enjoy uh, the whatever it is that their characters have to bring. So, we're going to start with the warm up question, and I'm going to ask the same warm up question that we had when we had the other two guest characters. And that is for Ronic and for Quirky. Which of the other main PCs are you most excited or interested in having your character interact with, and why? And then for the main PCs, the exact same question, but with Steven Pearl and Annie Kearney. Which character are you most excited or interested in having your character interact with, and why?
Well, mine is pretty obvious. Molly Moon.
Why Molly Moon?
Well, what I have just seen the latest video where, well, something went on with my sister.
Okay.
And there's Steven, I would like to know about these things.
Okay. Okay.
That's pretty obvious answer.
Yeah. Do you have an answer for that, Quirky?
There's it's kind of a hard one, because she kind of has some sort of connection and or similarity to a lot of the other characters, but probably Cassie would be the obvious answer, but I'm going to say Chase. Mostly because in her recent developments, she's sort of become more and more similar to him in a sense. Like, more in some off-session events. So, it would be very interesting to see them interact and see where those similarities kind of begin and end, so to speak.
I think I'm in a strange situation as Quirky there, where I feel like it would be in almost the obvious answer is Anne. I mean, primarily because he needs her services. But not those ones. Hark, shut up. So, but
I
I
already
think
know you have Kyle for that, so I mean, I wasn't thinking. I didn't go there.
But I think it might be Ronic because of a more subtle reason, which is the dreaming component. If Chase found out about any of that stuff from Ronic, that would immediately make him gravitate towards wanting to know more.
And by gravitate, would this involve bringing Steven over to a warehouse alone with by himself?
Oh no. Oh no.
That's up to him.
Whoa, okay.
Let's see what happens.
I love that. Steven's like, we'll see what happens. The door's still open, apparently.
Yeah, same thing for Molly. I think she has a pretty strong connection to Steven at the moment. So I've been looking forward to interacting with Steven for quite a while. So it should be a lot of fun.
For Tiffany, it would be Anne. She would be fascinated by the whole artistry behind tattooing. As Tiffany's beauty aesthetic is clothing, makeup, hair, tattooing is something that's like, she hadn't really considered it, but she can definitely see their skill behind it. It can create something so beautiful.
Are tattoos something that you think Tiffany is into? Is she like...
Well, it depends. If Kyle has a certain one on him and she finds it, he's dead.
Okay. Okay.
She herself does not have one, but it would be something that'd be an interesting thought.
One of those, they look good on other people.
right circumstances.
I think Noir, it would be most interesting for Noir to meet Anne, I think, at this stage, because of Anne's aura abilities, and Fabian's recently developed aura abilities, so be interesting to like pick her brains about that. It's like, what's it's like? Oh, is it traumatic experience gain aura powers? Is it not? What are they?
I think, like Quirky said, the obvious answer would be Anne in this case, because one of the few connections to other characters Cassie had going into this campaign was the Kearneys. And especially with the developments recently with Nevi, I think it just makes sense to, see where things would be with her sister. But while that said, I do also look forward to seeing interactions with Steven and, what might happen there, because hey, it's another specifically intelligent character coming into the mix. So, yeah.
So, we're going to start with a flashback.
Wait, we don't get to hear like who Kyle wants to meet most?
Yeah.
Do you want me to answer that question for one of the NPCs?
Usually we get an NPC choice.
I don't know if
Who
you
does
usually
Alicia want
do.
to talk to most?
Oh, maybe not.
I don't know if you usually do, but all right. If
Well,
you
I
want
mean,
me to
sorry,
answer-
I jumped to Kyle specifically too, because it's like, maybe I guess he's not really aware necessarily of who else was involved, but like clearly, like the Nightmare Gang, they get into stuff too. And so I'd wonder if any of that would be on his radar, and if so, does he know any of them in particular? Would he want most to interact with any,
I'm
Riz?
happy to hear that Riz wants to actually include Kyle in this group.
Aw.
He's so
It's Cassie that doesn't. It's not.
I know. Is that who you guys want me to answer that question for?
Sure.
I would say Steven. Not only because of his dreams, but he's good at what he does with computers as well. So he has a brilliant mind. So I think that's something that he would be wanting to know more about, I guess. That, and he probably wants to stay away from the Kearneys as much as possible. No offense, Anne. He deals with
None
your mom.
taken.
He deals with
None
your mom
taken.
way too much. And he's dealing with your mom way too much, and he has Nevi already. So it's like
None taken. None taken.
All right. We're going to start with a flashback. So, this flashback is going to take place at the Kearney residence. And Anne, you currently are going to be starting your first day at Dumont Academy a week from now. It's a week from now. You will start. You are at home. It's an afternoon. And Cassie has actually come over to the house to visit Nevi. Now, Nevi, how many years ago, that's a good question, Riz. How many years ago was it since your first day at the academy?
14 years.
14 years ago?
14 years ago.
So that means Cassie would be, I don't know how young you would be at that point, Cassie, but
Cassie'd be like 6.
6?
Like 6 or 7, yeah. If we're going like 14 years back, she's
And you were
she's
10?
only 20.
Aw.
All right. So I'm thinking that would have been your very first time meeting Cassie. So I'm thinking that maybe Cassie and Nevi met like playing outside, for example. And they became friends, and I don't know, Cassie decided to just walk over one day because she's independent like that. This 6-year-old, we have 10-year-olds going around the world. 10-year-olds are going around the world. I don't think it's that like unusual for a 6-year-old to go off by herself in the neighborhood and to like visit somebody's house. Now, the fact that it happens to be a big giant estate mansion, does say something about Cassie's character. But we'll say that she independently. Actually, I kind of want to play this out and see how this goes. So Cassie, you're a 6-year-old, and you're like, I want to play with my friend Nevi. So, you tell your mom that you're going out to play, and your mom and dad that you're going out to play, and your parents are like, okay, that's fine, because they think you're just gonna play in the backyard. But you don't necessarily tell them that you're gonna leave the backyard. So you just go off. And then you just walk over to the Kearney house, which isn't that far. I would say you go right up to the door, and you probably either ring the doorbell or you knock on the door. So what do you do?
I mean, yeah, if her little friend Jenny wasn't out, then yeah. She'd go and ring the doorbell.
Okay. You'll ring the doorbell, and then the door will open, and there will be this gentleman, much younger than the butler who opened the door for you in the session 1. Much younger than he was, but the same gentleman.
Weird how time works.
Yes. He opens the door and he looks around expecting someone yay high. So he's looking around, he doesn't see anyone. And then all of a sudden his peripheral vision, he looks down and he sees you there, and he tilts his head a little bit at this 6-year-old girl in front of him. And he asks, "May I help you, miss?"
Yeah, can Jenny come out and play?
He looks a little bit surprised by that. Lady Ginevra is currently out with her mum, but she should be back relatively soon. Would you like to wait for her?
Cassie shrugs and steps in past the butler.
Okay.
Just kind of wanders on in.
All right. We're gonna say that you wander in, and the butler, again, looking very confused, just doesn't stop you or anything. So he just closes the door, and then he will make his way down the foyer towards the kitchen area. So, Cassie, this is your very first time you've actually been inside the Kearney house. You've always seen it from the outside. It's clearly hard to miss because it's the largest one in the entire neighborhood.
Right.
But everything is clean and pristine and huge and grand. And there's like portraits all over the place. It's a beautiful, beautiful building. Not sure if as a 6-year-old you would appreciate it that much, but you probably would appreciate that it's so huge. Definitely is larger in the inside than it even seems from the outside. And you make your way down this hallway into a living room. And 10-year-old Anne is in the living room right now. And what do you think you would be doing in the living room?
Anne is probably sitting not on the couch, but like on the floor, leaning against the couch, and she's sort of transfixed on drawing on a piece of paper, kind of like
Okay, so you're drawing.
kind of like Fabian is
Okay.
a little bit,
Okay.
for a comparison.
You've never met this girl before. She clearly is not Nevi, but they have similar features. So
Ish.
ish,
If you
similar
look close
ish.
enough.
Yeah. What happens when Cassie enters the living room?
Is Cassie loud entering the room, or
No, I mean, so does she not even notice?
she might not notice at first, but she might like see you out of the corner of her eye, and she kind of cowers away a little bit and kind of shrinks more back into the couch, into where the couch is, like. But she doesn't really say anything.
Cassie then will just walk up to, I assume there are multiple sitting areas in here or whatever. She'll just walk up to a couch, like take a seat, nestle back a little bit, and just continue to look around.
And kind of looks sideways a little bit. She kind of just says this, kind of wavering in her voice, saying, what are you, who are you?
She'll blink a little and look to the girl, and offer a bit of a smile, but it's not much. And she'll say, "I'm Cassie. Who are you?"
Anne, she just says, and Anne, uh, where did you come from? Did you come from the basement?
No, I came from my house.
Oh, where's your house?
She'll just point toward the door and then not quite sure the area, look around a little bit more, but then just say, "It's not too far."
Oh. Are you one of Nevy's friends? Oh, sorry, not Nev. Nev. Not Nevy. Nev. Just Nev.
Yeah, we're gonna play today.
Oh. She flips through the pages and kind of rips out one of the drawings and hands it to her. Do you like this? And she holds it up. It's like a picture of a tree, of a
Pseudo-wudo?
like a
Or an actual tree?
It's a kind of a pseudo tree, but it's kind of like the straight lines and then the cloud shape, and she kind of just hands it to you.
So Cassie will look at the drawing and go, "Oh, cool. That's kind of like my name. Here, draw my tree."
Your tree?
Mm-hmm. Like a Christmas tree.
Oh. Okay. And she kind of flips through to a empty page and starts drawing the shape of a Christmas tree with like the classic kid drawing of a Christmas tree with little ornaments. And it takes her a couple of minutes, but she eventually finishes, rips out the page and hands it to you.
Cool. Well, upon seeing that, she'll smile a little more and decide, "I like this one. I think this one's better."
That one's better?
Mhm.
Okay. I should draw more of those then. I usually just do the cloud trees.
I mean, that's okay too. I just like this one better.
Hmm.
Hey, do you want to play with us?
I don't know. Nev might be embarrassed.
Why would she be embarrassed?
I'm not normal.
Well, that's okay. I can be the scientist and you could be the Pokemon.
Okay. What Pokemon should I be?
What Pokemon do you want to be?
I don't know. Vulpixes are too pretty. Let's see. Ice. Maybe.
Cassie patiently
Ice.
waits.
She kind of looks like she's going through a list in her mind. Like, maybe no. How about... I think there's one called Riolu, I think it's called. It has these blue beam things. They're pretty blue beams, like these. And she kind of points at her eyes.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, you be the Riolu and I'll be the scientist then.
Okay.
She
Oh.
when she says okay, her face brightens a little bit. And Cassie, when she probably doesn't seem to notice this, but you notice when her face brightens a little bit that her irises flash a blue light. Momentarily flashes a blue light.
Oh, and has she seen anything like that before?
Oh no. This is not normal. It's definitely not normal.
Then her own eyes, would widen a little bit, lighting up, but not in the same fashion, mind you.
As far as you know.
Yes, that is true. She'll slit out a little, like, whoa, what was that? Do that again.
What did I do? I'm sorry.
Your eyes did the flashy thing.
A flashy thing? Hmm. Oh, the flashy thing. I don't. Hmm.
And Cassie, at this point,
sorry.
she feels like she understands, and so she gets up from her chair and clears her throat a little bit and says, "Riolu, do the eye flashy thing again."
Oh, okay. I mean, Riolu, and she kind of tries to open her eyes, like force it out, but it probably doesn't work.
Roll me a focus. We'll find out. Roll me a focus, subtract 2.
Are you sure about that?
I'm very
What
sure
about-
about.
Okay.
What about?
Do it.
What were we gonna say? What about what?
What about intuition? Does that work?
No.
I feel like her focus is not as high.
I feel like no. For this, it would be focus.
Okay. 2.
Okay. So, yeah. You're going to try. You're going to attempt and strain to do the eye flashy thing, but it doesn't seem to be working.
She kind of slumps back a little bit, kind of hugs herself a little bit and says, Riolu.
How interesting. She'll start writing. Little fake notepad. It seems you can't do it when you want to do it.
I want to do it, but
If
I
you
don't
do
know
it,
how to.
I'll give you a treat.
Riolu?
Yes, your favorite treat.
She kind of looks around a little bit, kind of does the thinking motion. Riolu. Riolu. And she kind of readies herself, kind of centers, kind of tries to center herself, and then kind of she's kind of in she stands up and goes into Superman stance and kind of
Right. Now
tries to flash the eye thing again.
Now, Quirky, roll me an intuition. Oh my goodness.
I think it
Okay.
works.
So, well, not only that. So you try to focus your intuition as much as possible, and then you do your Superman pose, and then you feel this something welling up inside you. And the first thing that Cassie notices is her eyes flash a bright blue, brighter than they were before. The second thing you notice is for a few seconds, you see two Anns. You see one Ann who's purely like the original Ann, and then you see this bluish, ethereal-ish Ann appears right in front of her, just a few feet towards your direction, with the exact same pose, doing the exact same thing the other Anne is doing. And it lasts for a few seconds before it dissipates. And this is your first time you ever saw that happen. You've never seen that happen before.
For both of them, I assume.
For both of them, you've never seen that before. But for Anne especially, she definitely hasn't seen it.
She kind of looks at the thing. She starts to like, her face kind of goes bright, and she kind of sways in place, and she's kind of shaking a little bit, and she kind of hums a little bit to herself, like she looks like really, really ecstatic.
Yes. Cassie, meanwhile, yeah, she watched that whole projection thing again, just looking awestruck, because yeah, that's not a thing that you normally see ever happen ever. So let out, wow, how I mean, good work. That was very good, Riolu. Here, have a whole bag of treats. She'll like toss it over, but then she'll walk over
mime
to
tossing?
she'll walk over to
mime tossing it over.
yeah, just mime tossing it. Yes.
And mime catches it, and she's like, Riolu, Riolu, Riolu! And she continues to kind of sway to herself and kind of mime taking a treat.
But then Cassie, she'll like cup her mouth a little like this, just whisper, "How did you do that?"
She kind of mimics what she's doing and says, I don't know. Well, she's continues sort of swaying in place a little bit and kind of shaking.
So we're gonna end the flashback there.
It's good. It was recess time anyway.
It's recess time, yes.
Riola would have been dismissed.
And now we are going to move back to the present. So, Steven.
Okay.
You are going to... you find yourself in a house that you don't recognize, but for whatever reason it's familiar to you. And the house seems to be not kept very well. There actually appears to be a lot of cracks in the wall. There's a door in front of you that seems to have been burst through. And you feel something nudging at you, but it doesn't feel anything threatening. It feels very familiar and comforting, nudging you. What do you do?
I turn and look at who's nudging.
There is a Pokemon who's nudging you. Again, a Pokemon that you don't recognize, but you feel like you know this Pokemon even though you don't recognize it. And it appears to be a Hakamo'o. A Hakamo'o is a dragon type Pokemon.
Yeah, the new dragon.
And something inside of you feels two things. One, you feel, you can sense in your head two names. One is Dimitri, and for whatever reason you feel like that name is your name. You feel like your name is Dimitri. And then you feel like the other Pokemon's name, make up a Pokemon name for a Hakamo.
Scales.
Scales?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we'll call him Scales. All right. Steven, you've done this before. This has happened to you multiple times. You know this is a dream. You know what this is.
Yes.
You're aware this is a dream. But your dreams have gotten so much more powerful in that you, A, of course, are aware that it's a dream, and B, you start picking up on information and memories that the character that you are in the dream of has. So your name is Dimitri, and you know that this is your Pokemon, Hakamo, but everything else about the details of your surrounding is fuzzy. The Hakamo is looking at you as if it looks very concerned. It looks alert and cautious, almost like you are safe where you are now, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be like that for a long time.
Okay. What to do?
Scales is looking towards the door, and he sort of, flitters his tongue out, like a Komodo dragon, and he seems to be like not looking at you as if asking if you're ready to move.
Okay. Let's go, Scales.
Okay. Scales is going to run ahead, and I'm assuming you're going to follow him?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to follow Scales to the house, and there you pass the kitchen. On the kitchen counter are all of these cans of... There's all these canned food cans that are open, and there's piles of them, as if whoever's been in this house has been eating out of these canned foods for a while. But all of the cupboards are open, as if to imply that there are no more canned foods left. You go out of the house, and to your personal surprise, you see that the entire neighborhood is in some sort of... The entire neighborhood is in disarray. It looks like ground zero. Like some battle or war thing happened here, because there are bodies everywhere. There are bodies all over the place. And Scales seems to be unaffected by this scene, almost as if it's used to this. And Scales looks towards your direction and seems to tell you to keep following it as you're moving through.
Coming.
Okay. You're gonna keep walking past the bodies, and Scales is going to turn a corner. As you turn a corner, you see something moving on the ground by your feet.
Look.
You look down, and it's this grayish-looking hand, and the hand seems to be attached to a graveler. It's a graveler. But the graveler has a very sickly color to it, and it looks up at you with reddish eyes. The graveler has all of these like cracks on it, which looks like it's been like brutally injured. And then the graveler looks at you, and it's kind of gives this.
Okay, back up. I thought to back up.
You start to back up, and as you back up, you start hearing in the back of your, like from behind you, shuffling. As the graveler is moving towards you, but there's something behind you that's shuffling.
Try to turn away.
You turn away and look where?
I try to look where Scale is.
Well, Scales had run ahead of you to turn the corner. So, are you going to run past the graveler to get to Scales?
Yes, I try.
All right. You're gonna try to dodge past the graveler. The graveler will swipe at you. You will dodge and get out of the way. As soon as you dodge, you'll see what was coming from behind you, and it is this horde, if you can believe it, this horde of Pokemon, and they're all shuffling, and it's basically think The Walking Dead. It's these horde of zombie Pokemon that are shuffling towards you. And they don't seem very friendly. They look very hungry right now.
Yep, running.
Scales runs over and runs back towards you because I think it just realized that you weren't right behind it, and it grabs a hold of your sleeve and pulls you forward as you start to try to run through this neighborhood. Now that the Pokemon and some of these Pokemon move slow, and other Pokemon like the flying ones are not moving so slow. So there's actually a flock of zombie Pidgeys that are now flying overhead, and they seem to be flying towards your direction. Scales is trying to continue dragging you down this alleyway to try to get you to another house. And meanwhile, you're passing by this area that looks like there's all these tents. There's all of these military barriers that looks like has been like overturned and thrown out. There's no people left, but there's all these like triage areas, almost as if this particular spot of the neighborhood was quarantined, but there doesn't seem to be any people there anymore. You pass by this big giant wooden boarded up door with these big letters on it that says warning, dead inside. And then finally the Scales is able to take you over to this relatively safe looking house, and you shut the door behind you and you lock it. And Scales will move ahead of you, sniffing around, trying to make sure that the house is clear.
Yeah, I'm looking around, trying to catch my breath and looking around if there's anyone.
Okay. You start looking around the house to see if there's any survivors. Again, this house looks like it's been ransacked of all of its food, fuel, or whatever other like supplies. You feel very alone. You haven't felt, and you feel like you just recently had some sort of a tragic loss, but you can't remember what that tragic loss is. But you feel very alone, and you start to feel a bit sad, and you're searching through to find something to eat, because all of a sudden you have these pangs of hunger in your stomach. Your stomach starts growling. You enter into the kitchen, and on the kitchen there appears to be some old newspapers on the table. And you go through the newspapers, and there's an article on there. There's articles after articles after articles of all these newspapers talking about the outbreak and the P virus outbreak. You're like scrummaging through these articles, and then finally there's an article that shows a photo of a bunch of Jennies arresting a man, and on the very top it says man arrested for being responsible for the P virus outbreak, but is it too late? Is basically what the article is saying. And the picture of the man the picture of the man who's being arrested in the article is that man.
Oh, okay.
There is a sudden sound of a crash in another part of the room. It sounds like a window was broken into. And you then hear the roar of a dragon Pokemon that you recognize as Scales.
running towards Scale. What's going on?
You're going to run towards Scales, and the Pokemon is growling at a bunch of Medichams. It's a group of Medichams that have telepathically thrown a bunch of debris into the window, and has caused the window to burst open, and they're starting to make their way. Suddenly the room starts to smell of decay as these Medichams are coming into the room, and Scales is backing up, but he's trying to growl at them as if it's about to attack.
Let's get away here. Get away from here, quick.
Okay. You start to make your way to run, and then that's when the dream ends.
Okay, that's a new one. Take my notebook and write everything down.
Okay. You are in a hotel room right now, and you can hear that somebody's in the shower of this hotel room, and Anne, I think, probably has just recently woken up. I don't know what Anne would be doing. Would she just be drawing? Would she be I don't know, watching TV? I don't know what she would be doing in the morning. It's probably around 9 a.m. or something.
Right now, she's kind of just sort of sitting up on the bed, staring at the ceiling, kind of looking like she's kind of lost in thought. And she looks like she's kind of sorting through things in her head.
Mm-hmm. It is the morning of All Hallows Eve, by the way. Just as an FYI. Just a couple days, I think, since Moxie and Charlie's mission.
Do I know who is in the shower?
Yes, it's Lewis.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that you will notice Steven waking up and immediately taking out his notebook and starting writing to a notebook, and you know what that means. Whenever Steven writes in a notebook, you know exactly why he's writing into his notebook. It's the only reason he writes in his notebook as soon as he wakes up.
So she kind of looks over at him. Bad dream?
Really weird and bizarre. That was not expecting to see.
Will it be useful in the next few days, you think, or no?
I wish that if that's what I saw would happen, this is going to sound weird, but everything I say sounds weird. Zombies. I didn't expect to see zombies, but well, guess in the day today's, and well, seems like my dreams have teaming.
Mm-hmm.
The door opens and Lewis comes out. Lewis already got changed in the bathroom, and he stretches a bit and says, "Morning. How's it going? Ready for breakfast?" Lewis sits down on the bed next to Anne.
I guess she kind of sits up still with a kind of pensive look on her face, and and goes up and goes to the drawer and sort of lays out, say, the costume she's going to be wearing.
Okay. Steven, you all right? Lewis asks.
Another dream.
Another dream.
Is apparently.
What's this one about? Tell us everything that you saw. Zombies?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not having that dream just because it happens to be All Hallows Eve tonight?
That's what I was thinking, but no. I had information about that dream.
Okay.
It was too big.
So what information?
Apparently some person is going to some kind of P virus.
P virus?
Yes.
Like Pokerus?
I don't know, but it could be. There is someone who they seem to have claimed that was the person responsible.
Who?
I described
You described the man. You didn't catch the man's name.
Yeah.
Red hair. I guess that narrows it down a little bit, but it doesn't give us that much to go by on.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't get the name.
No, it's fine. Did you find out how long from now the dream happens? Did you get any sense of how much in the future it's going to happen?
Not really. It's going to be really. What I saw was place was really broken down.
In the past, when you get these dreams, Steven, they always seem to involve our next step. You said the P virus, and it just so happens that you know that our next mission is to find the supplier.
Yeah.
Anne, are you okay with this, by the way? After what happened at Dumont Academy, are you okay with this?
I'm as okay as I'll ever be with this. I need to do this I've screwed up too many times at that place. I need to make up for it somehow.
I didn't get very much details about what happened at the academy. So you guys destroyed the serum, right?
Yep. All gone. Destroyed.
How did you do it?
Fire.
You had fire, I had computer fire.
Yeah. That.
What exactly did you guys do? I was too busy at the Team Rocket, on the Team Rocket mission while you guys were doing your thing. So how did you guys pull it off?
I had to go work to Miss Kearney. I worked at the academy, got myself information about the location of the virus and the safe route. Yes, the serum, and got the routes to safest routes to go there.
And I went in, avoided guards with Steve's help and burned the paper files, and he deleted the computer files.
Do you think that this is something that your mom's going to make public, or do you think that they would try to cover this up?
I don't know with her anymore. And she kind of takes a glance down at the costume.
And you're sure that every record of the serum is gone from the academy, Steven?
Yes, I made sure that there was nothing left. And nothing to trade.
But you guys told me the only thing left is find out where the supplier is, the people who are actually supplying the Pokerus virus for them to make the serum.
Exactly.
Okay.
He's got hell to pay.
Well, I think based on Steven's dream, I'd be shocked if that wasn't a lead. Maybe this supplier, whoever this guy is, maybe he's the one who starts this zombie thing?
Yep.
I don't know. You're
Weird.
better interpreting these things than I am, Steven.
Probably costumes or something. I don't know.
All right. Let's get cracking then, he says.
Yep.
All right. She kind of, before she starts getting into the costume, she kind of stares at it a little more. Kind of still deep in thought, but still kind of puts on the costume, which is like a sort of kind of thiefish costume with like leather buckles and straps and a hood along with a scarf that sort of covers up to her mouth and nose.
Mm-hmm.
How do I look?
You look unrecognizable, if that's what you're going for.
Yep. This thing's a vintage.
Did Charlie pick that out for you?
No.
Lewis says, grinning.
Found it with... And she kind of looks down. I found it with other stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah. She kind of looks down still, kind of looks to a nearby mirror, kind of shudders a little bit, kind of hugs herself tightly.
What's wrong, Anne?
This thing in the cellar. This was in the cellar with the plate, along with you know how I said I don't know my mom anymore?
Yeah. I know.
This it goes against everything she's ever said, everything she's ever I just don't I feel like I'm starting to become her more than I realize.
Parents have a tendency to disappoint us sometimes. And about being afraid to become your parents. I know what that's like.
But they were thieves. It doesn't it's not just mom, but dad too. I thought I knew them enough that they wouldn't do stuff like that. I mean, I know they were young, but I just don't.
What exactly did you find out?
They had these. They went by these other names. There were a ton of names. Like, along with a bunch of paintings and artifacts and stuff, along with the plate. And there were all these identification documents, birth certificates for multiple names and They all had their faces. How could they just have gotten away with that?
Honestly, you know why? They're very powerful. They're very wealthy. They've got a lot of things going for them that kind of lets them get away with a lot of these things.
Sitting on a throne of lies. All lies.
And if what you're saying is true, this I don't want to imply anything, but this is evidence. This is evidence that could destroy them.
I have the high ground over them now. I never did anything like that. I never stole priceless paintings. I never went around deceiving people. I never wore this. And she kind of gestures to the costume. This was hers.
Really?
Or at least I think it's hers. I doubt my dad wore this.
I somehow doubt it too.
Yeah, it just...
So what are you gonna do with this information now?
I don't know. If I keep it, I can hold it over them. I can hold it over them. I could not be afraid of them anymore. As long as I have all this in my arsenal, they have no power over me. None.
Lewis will give you a very comforting rub on your shoulder. Whatever you decide to do, you know we're gonna support you. Right, Steven?
Of course.
I know they're your parents, but I also know that they've ruined a lot of people's lives here, and I know there'd be plenty of people who would love to see them knocked out of office. But at the same time, like you said, they are also your parents, and you could use this as leverage in the meantime, too.
They stopped being my parents when they kicked me out on my ass. When they just used me as a pawn to become a better version of them.
And your sister? I know she's an adult, but I don't want... I know she's an adult and a police officer and everything, but I can't help but see her as the little girl in cornrows eating out of her little fruit cup sometimes. I can't just corrupt her head like this. I mean, I do it enough as it is. So you're not gonna tell her? I'm not telling you to do either. I'm not telling you to not tell her, I'm not telling you to tell her, I'm just asking.
She probably wouldn't believe me even if I said anything.
So what do you want us to do? The 4 of us, the 5 of us, what do you want us to do? Or are you still deciding that?
I'm still processing everything. I mean, it's all just too much to... I would at least think they would break the law. I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know them anymore. I mean, sure, but both before and after this revelation, my mother was a manipulative bitch, but still surprises me. But my dad, I thought my dad was better, you know. I thought he was an innocent in all this, like me and Nev.
It's All Hallows Eve today, Anne. Some people wear masks once a year. Others wear it throughout the year.
I've worn a mask my whole life.
Well, maybe today's the day that you can go out of costume then.
She looks at herself in the mirror a little bit more, up and down. I might just. In some ways.
Lewis will give your shoulder another squeeze. Come. Maybe a sugar rush tonight will help. By the way, Steven, that plate you found, did we ever figure out which one it was?
Yes.
Which one is
Yes,
it?
It's a pixie plate.
The pixie plate? We'll keep it
Yeah.
with you for the time being. And you keep the fist plate for the time being, he says, looking at Anne.
Guarding it with my life.
All right. We're going to end that scene there. Now we're back to the main cast. So, it is the morning of All Hallows Eve. I believe we ended with the Cresselia zone. Yes, the dream zone.
Ollie and Chase doing stuff.
Yes.
Yep.
What's happening today?
Molly actually wants to do another chase scene.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So Molly's gonna go looking for Chase, and I think she'll find him just maybe wandering around Saffron one day.
I mean, he does have a phone now.
Oh, he does, right? Sorry. So
You
yeah,
could call.
she'll give him a call. She'll just say, Ian, good morning.
Good morning.
Can we meet somewhere private?
Of course.
All right. Yeah, I just got something to give you, and something I want you to do. Okay.
It's not like that other thing you asked me to do, huh?
Nothing like that. No. Just it won't take too long, probably.
Okay.
All right.
Where we meet?
Out of character, I don't know if Molly knows that he lives in a warehouse.
Oof, no.
So, okay.
He will let you know. Yeah, he'll say, "Look, I got a place I'm squatting at right now. No one's caught me."
Right.
And he sent me directions.
Right. So she'll meet him at the warehouse, and
Okay.
she'll walk in and she'll say, "Well, Ian, so she holds up Cassidy's sword that she got at Team Rocket. So I got this sword from Cassidy. You remember that?"
I remember it on
Yeah.
the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it hitting me.
Yep. So I've got this one, and she has a brother.
Hmm.
And I think it's only fitting that her brother goes to mine. She hands him Butch's sword.
He I'm trying to be careful here. He takes the sword,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel the air around you slightly hotter. when he takes the sword. She doesn't seem to acknowledge any of it.
If he doesn't acknowledge it, she won't either.
He's like, this is the future. You know that, right?
I remember it being in the past, a flaming sword. It only seemed to fit.
You helped show me that future. And now you're giving me a sword. This is all a pattern.
The more I talk to you, the more I believe in patterns.
Patterns are a funny thing. We're not always in control of them. That's what makes it special. It means something else is watching. Something else is patting our hands. Bringing us together.
Are you talking about gods, or are you talking about just something besides that?
I don't know what to call it. I don't believe in gods. I'm an atheist. But I do have faith. At the end of the day, call the legendaries gods if you want. Worship them if you want. But there's got to be something beyond them. They're still just things. Things with power. Look at us right now. We have powers. What does that make us?
I certainly don't feel like a god.
You will.
But Molly looks at him. She just she smiles and nods a little bit, and she says, "Em, I need you to help me with something else. We're, talking about patterns. You know how I feel about blood.
I've seen it. He covers his shirt up a little bit more. He got himself fixed.
She says, "Look, we don't know what we're going to see in Johto, and if I can't be in a situation where seeing blood completely stops me from what I need to do. And there's just something I need you to try, okay? We'll just see if it works, all right?"
I'll try anything.
Chase, I need you to cut me.
Well, with having any reaction to this?
Bullets in his ball. There's a reason for that.
Lux is on Chase's shoulder, so.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry, Lux. He won't hurt me too much.
Finish the bird. Finish the bird.
By the time this is done. That's how we become.
Chase pulls out his knife. Do you think maybe that's a good idea? He takes off his sweater, and then he lifts up his shirt just to show his stomach, where there's the cauterized wound. And he tries to see what her reaction is.
She looks at it and she grimaces, but she doesn't go into a panic.
You've got me stuck here, Molly.
I have you stuck.
It's not an easy thing for me to make others bleed. He takes off the bird so she can see the bird and the dry blood on his chest.
Chase is just giving you the bird.
She gives a little more of a reaction to that, but it's still not as full blown as seeing the fresh blood.
The thing with blood is that it's, I mean, blood is life. You know, and sometimes it's easy to disregard the value of life, the importance of what our blood keeps us alive, keeps us moving, keeps us warm. And he shows his arms to her, his forearms. And because he's been bathing and whatnot, some of the ink is starting to wash off, starting to get more faded out. And she can see his skin smoking a little, so it starts to burn more of the ink away. And she can start seeing scars up his forearms towards his biceps. And he says, there's a point in my life where I realized the value of blood. There's a lot I forget about my past. And the only way for me to try to remember why I was still here was to bleed. It was that I was real. And I wasn't in just some sort of dream, some God dream. I mean, how does a person forget as much as he forgets? Unless all of this is made up and you're just part of some story. But when I bleed, I know that it's real again. There was a point when I stopped cutting myself, and that was when I found Lux. I realized that there was something else out there, other signs. I felt like for once, finding Lux was like him opening the cage that I was stuck in. He freed me. And then I met all of you. And I realized that I don't want to just bleed. I want to make sure I bleed so that others can live. So I don't feel comfortable cutting you, Molly. I feel like that would work against what my purpose. He hands her the knife.
She takes it, and she's already trembling. He can see the knife trembling, but her face is determined. She says, Ian, I need you to help me not to run away. And she holds out her hand to him.
He takes her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Before you do that, I want to let you know that you're free to use that on me instead. I'm here for you.
I know you are. You've always been there ever since I met you. Maybe not physically, but always in here.
At the same time, I don't want to see a trembling child leaning up against the wall because she saw a bunch of decapitated bodies. Your future is not deep. Something you can overcome. It's your path. You choose to walk it.
She holds the knife up to her arm. she makes a small cut. Just a small one. And as soon as she sees the blood, she tries to pull her arm away from Chase.
Won't let go of the arm.
Molly's starting to breathe faster. She says, Ian, let me go. Let me go.
No.
And she's staring at the blood that's starting to run down her arm. It's coming out, Ian. Just stop.
Sometimes a rope is a noose, and sometimes a rope is meant to hold on to. And I'm your rope.
And when he mentions rope and noose and knot, she starts to breathe a little easier. And she stares at him for a few seconds. She starts to ignore the blood. She says, interesting choice of words there. She stares.
It's just blood, Mom.
She looks back at it. She's able to look at it without trying to pull away. And she starts to relax a little. Maybe it's a start.